Oh, hey there. Welcome to Weekly Lit, episode 14. N.K. Jemisin. Wanted to talk a little bit about a topic we haven't covered at all, science fiction. And so the featured author today is N.K. Jemisin and her book, The Fifth Season, which is an excellent work. It's first of a trilogy. I've only read this book. I have the other two, and we'll try to get to them later this summer or fall. Science fiction is a genre that's fraught with peril, and I don't say that lightly. But there's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of dreck to sort through to get to the good stuff. And so N.K. Jemisin is I got a bite. All right, so landed a catfish, released, and we'll see what else we get today. But anyway, back to N.K. Jemisin. So the genre is like I said, you got to sort through a lot of bad stuff. I now and again pick up a copy of analog science fiction and read some short stories. And again, it's always a mixed bag. But when it's like any genre, when it's good, it's great. And a couple of the all-time classics, the Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov, of course Dune and the Dune series. The originals by Frank Herbert are probably my favorites. White Plague by Frank Herbert is probably my absolute favorite science fiction. Neil Stephenson is an interesting author. So there are a lot of great ones out there. And I think N.K. Jemisin is a real fresh, new writer. I say new, the last 10 years or so. The fifth season, I think, came out in 2015 or 2016. She won 3 consecutive awards for the Nebula Award for Top Science Fiction, 3 in a row, which had never been done for the first 3 books of this trilogy, or the only 3 books of this trilogy, including the first one. And so anyway, she's an excellent writer, great voice, innovative, very clear, and so it's accessible, but she deals with deep issues, environmental issues, in the same way that Frank Herbert did. And of course, as an aside, be a good year to read Dune. I've probably my 4th time around reread the original trilogy earlier this year, and with the upcoming movie. So we will discuss Dune at greater depth at some point. And so if you be a great one to reread, or you're in for a treat if it's the first time. There's philosophy involved. The 5th season is a story about the end of the world in figurative and literal senses. And I think it was John Gardner who said that there are only 2 stories to be told. Man goes on a journey and a stranger comes to town, which is funny because that's really just the same story from a different point of view. So it's really only one story. Everybody knows Joseph Campbell's hero arc, or the hero's journey, and that type of thing. So it's a story like that, and yet it's fresh and innovative, and she's a great new voice. So I'll try to attach an excerpt a little bit later on, and to go through that with just maybe a longer excerpt. But even though we're here, it's a little awkward here because of the wind. But I guess I can do a little reading while we're out here. But here's an excerpt from the prologue. You are here. Let's start with the end of the world, why don't we? Get it over with and move on to more interesting things. First, a personal ending. There is a thing she will think over and over in the days to come as she imagines how her son died and tries to make sense of something so innately senseless. She will cover Uche's broken little body with a blanket, except his face because he is afraid of the dark. And she will sit beside it numb, and she will pay no attention to the world that is ending outside. The world has already ended within her, and neither ending is for the first time. She's old hat at this by now. What she thinks then and thereafter is, but he was free. And it is her bitter, weary self that answers this almost question every time her bewildered, shocked self manages to produce it. He wasn't, not really, but he will be. So I'm winding this up at a different location. The dock got a little windy and noisy, so we'll just finish it up here on the sound stage. And so the discussion about N.K. Jemisin, if you're looking for an entry point to science fiction, of course the classic place to start would be H.G. Wells. And Dan Simmons is also a great writer, and of course Gene Wolfe is in a class by himself. I'll say he's in a class by himself, and then I'll mention Frank Herbert in the same sentence, so thereby negating what I was just saying. But Gene Wolfe is a heck of a writer, and I'm sure I'm missing some others. But there's a novel, The Forever War. The author's name is escaping me at the moment. But anyway, N.K. Jemisin, as a newer, fresh writer, just based on this one book, I think has a lot to offer. It's excellent work, and I'm looking forward to finishing this trilogy. And I think she has about 8 or 9 books, including maybe a novella, out. I'm interested to pick up some of those as well and see how those are. So this is... didn't go real in depth on her because it's really just an unusual world and an unusual story that I think you can sort of uncover for yourselves if you have interest in this genre. If you like science fiction generally, then you will love N.K. Jemisin. If you don't like science fiction, I think you'll like her just for the quality of her writing and the ability to tell a story, and it's very literate, and it's an excellent read. So we'll leave it at that. And again, I'll cover Dune sometime in the coming month, probably close to when the movie comes out, and you can read ahead on that. So until next time, read harder.